Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Melanoff, and with me is a duo, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. That makes sense. Or, screw it. You're my friend, Mark Souza.
What's up?
We got something to talk about. We're going to start off with some kind of controversial, maybe, discussion about fans and players' altercation. Then we're going to go into the roundup of the NBA that's happened the last couple of days. Then we'll go to our power rankings after some news and stuff like that from the NBA that we need to discuss. So we'll start with the fan altercation first. The first one I want to talk about, obviously, is the Blake Griffin incident where he kind of went after a fan before the fan got ejected. And his quote, the quote he was overheard saying was, "The F you say to me." And obviously he said something that upset Blake Griffin. And my question to you is, there's a lot of responses by players in the NBA that are kind of hostile towards fans, especially ones that are drinking and are pretty mean. So if you were an NBA player and someone says something offensive or racist or anything or remarking you or your family, how would you react to it, or how should you react to it? And maybe the better question.
I think the players have a responsibility to not react negatively, even in a circumstance where somebody says something very offensive. And I understand it's our human nature to, respond or defend ourselves and things like that. But you have to understand, being a public figure, being somebody who is a professional, you're at your job. And these fans, they should mean nothing. What they say directly should mean nothing. You need to learn to tune it out, have thicker skin, and move on. Again, it's not easy in every circumstance or every situation. I get it. They'll say mean things about you, about your background, about your family members, about everything under the sun. But
there was one especially that happened when Kevin Durant was shooting free throws, and after the free throws, there were fans trying to distract him, and then afterwards he called them the BITCH. And I don't think I'm allowed to say that on the show, but I'm just saying, what did that dude do trying to distract you, insulted you so much you had to call him that?
Right.
I think we can both agree he is the most sensitive guy in all of sports.
I think we can agree to that, but I think we can also agree that just NBA players in particular, in general, over the last couple of years have been very sensitive. There used to be a time where I don't know. I don't think fans have gotten any crazier. I just think that the responses have been more sensitive.
I think you're right on that. And I think
fans have always talked trash. You
got to get used to that. And be a professional about it is my biggest concern with this. Is you got to be mature. You got to be a role model. You're a public figure. You can't let this stuff get to you because none of it is personal.
And
it sounds like it's personal, but it's not.
We all understand how teasing and bullying kind of works, right? If you respond to it, you're going to get it more.
Exactly.
That's what
you're taught as a kid. If you ignore them, you don't get a rise because that's what they want. They want to get a rise out of you. So Kevin Durant, if you're listening,
they'll tire themselves out if they can't get a response from you.
Why does no one talk more trash about LeBron James anymore? Because he rarely reacts. He doesn't react to it. Kobe Bryant, he gets talk all the time. Does he react to it? No. He blocks it all out. And that's what makes him one of the greatest of all time, honestly, is he blocks out all the negativity.
So with that being said, the fans are going to do what they're going to do, and it's entertainment, so they're going to keep purchasing tickets and buy these
They're going to
seats.
keep happening. So
They're going to keep drinking alcohol and saying what's on their mind, whatever they feel that given day or time.
Yeah.
So for the players, what needs to change, and what can the NBA do to actually
Well, I don't think the
deter
NBA
this?
can do anything because it's like freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. But also,
I mean, they could fine people or things like that.
I mean,
right?
I
Like,
guess.
they could do something to deter this type of response.
you mean find the players for their reaction?
Find the players, suspend the players, something, right? Like they obviously want.
I feel like the NBA.
They don't want. It's a bad look when an NBA player responds to a fan.
Especially when everyone has their phones. Everyone's recording everything they say.
Everything
And
is
then,
on ESPN.
Like, how many
Everything's
times,
on Twitter.
How many times have we seen Russell Westbrook curse a fan out when he's
All the
talking
time.
trash? And, like, you got to be better than that. I'm sorry. Like,
You can't. There's too many cameras, not just by the fans, but by
Yeah,
every part,
but-
every tabloid,
but
every news site has a camera there.
there is also, like, the big question about the children. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's like you're a
For
role
the
model.
kids, man, you got to think about the
Well, the thing
kids.
is, there's going to be kids paying money and like begging their parents, like, let's go see my favorite basketball player, Russell Westbrook. And if he's cursing out a fan next to him, you're not teaching him anything. You're teaching him the wrong things, and you're not being a role model. And I'm sorry, NBA players are role models. That they just are. So you gotta learn to be more mature for them. I know that sounds so cliche. I'm sorry I'm being so cliche about it, but I hate the fact that when you see guys curse out like those drunken fans, then you see a kid right next to him seeing all this.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not
just
right.
a bad look. For me, it's not so much
I'm just using that as one of
the
us.
kids that are there, but it's just like when you look on TV, like
You're also immature.
you don't want, if you're the NBA, like if you're an owner, if you're the commissioner, anyone, you don't want to see, when you turn on ESPN that night, you don't want to see Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, or one of the biggest stars in the league engaging negatively with fans because, and this is a thing, the NBA is a very fan-friendly sport. When you compare
Absolutely.
it to the other big sports, the NFL has problems with off-the-field stuff. The NBA has problems with people abusing women, getting in fights.
That's all sports though right now.
But football has the biggest problem.
yes.
Okay. So football has a visibility problem, right? Like football has a lot of issues going on. Whether it doesn't matter what you feel, what you think of it, the kneeling thing is an issue for fans. The football's got a lot of off the field crap going on that they're always fighting against, right?
Absolutely.
MLB and NBA don't really have that. And the last thing that you want to do, especially if you're an NBA or if you're a fan of the NBA, or sorry, if you have any stake in the NBA, is to see your league have a visibility problem. You don't want to see, you don't want to hear people say, I don't want to take my kids to an NBA game because this happens, because I can't deal with this.
Like,
Because NFL fans, even off the field stuff, in terms of fans, how many fights do you see on social media from fans in the stands in an NFL game? All the time.
That's pointless.
You hardly ever
Absolutely.
see a fight in an NBA arena. Hardly ever when amongst fans. I'm just talking fans.
Fan versus fan. I agree.
Like hardly ever. Like you've been to sporting events. I've been to sporting events. I think we can both agree that football, when you go to a football
Is a
game,
lot
there's
more
a lot
violent.
more
Absolutely.
violence. A lot more violence.
And
lot
that's
more
just
hostility.
the drunken fans just being like, everyone's like, oh, that's drunk fans being passionate. No, that's not. There's no reason to fight over a sport. I'm sorry.
And also, like, football is more of an event than basketball. Basketball is a 2-hour game, one of 82.
it's kind of like a social thing.
Yeah, football, like, you set your whole day around that football game. If you're gonna
Tailgating.
go,
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
like, it's like a 10-hour event.
For basketball, it's like, okay, let's go to the game today. All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
If you live near an arena, like, you literally, spend 10, 15 minutes getting there, 30 minutes, however close you live.
Football's a whole different story.
And
I
then
agree.
you leave, like, and it's 2 hours. Basketball games are 2 hours long, unless it goes overtime. Even still, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes long. So, yeah, football, but football's an all-day event. And with that being said, there's a lot of drinking that goes into an all-day event.
Especially when tailgating is happening, there's drinking at least
3-4 hours before.
So that's like what, 8 hours of drinking?
And if you're a Buffalo Bills fan and you've been drinking since
And
like
you-
7 a.m. and it's freezing
and you
cold,
just went through a table.
you and your buddy both took turns putting each other through different tables,
I love that, though.
And
that's all in good fun, though.
And that was before 10 a.m. You still got 3 hours to
You're not trying to hurt them. That's one thing. But then you're trying to hurt them in the stadium. I think personally that the NBA players are gonna have. There's gonna be a Malice at the Palace again.
Something needs to happen, right?
Don't you think another Malice at the Palace can happen at any time?
We're heading that way.
Because it could happen soon.
Look, man, all it takes is one of these NBA players to swing one time at one fan, and then all of a sudden you got 10 fans fighting an NBA player. Then you got 5 NBA players fighting 10 fans.
Yeah.
Then you have coaches. And can you imagine if we see coaches, players swinging on fans? Can you imagine what that would look like for the league? I know the Malice in the Palace is a terrible look, but that still doesn't even pale in comparison to what could happen.
Today's game, where it's even more popular than ever, that would put a huge impact on everything NBA.
And with the access, the fans have so much access to the players. That's the only sport where you can actually sit on the turf, on the court, on the field of play. Because in basketball, if you sit courtside, you can literally reach out and touch these players when they're inbounding the ball. They're right there. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been down there, but they're literally right there.
Oh no,
you can hear them talk to each other, and that's why they get sensitive too, because they can hear everything because they're that close to the fans.
Yeah,
right?
but you gotta tune. I'm sorry. I know it's tough. I know what they're saying is horrible. I totally understand you're getting offended by that. I get that. But you cannot react.
What does the NBA need to do? Do they need to fine or suspend players? Do they need to up in the harshness of the response to maybe curb the behavior?
Maybe. I know that might be, the Player Association might not agree with that. That's my only issue with that, is the Player Association, we can go on strike and not have to deal with your crap. I get that. But there's something needs to be done, because the players cannot be so hostile to the fans. I don't care what the fans are saying. They're drunk. They're drinking a lot. They're saying to get under your skin. They're trying to get that right.
Maybe the NBA needs to do some training, in the off season, where they bring the players in and they instruct, where it kind of shows them, hey, look, this is what you're going to encounter on a night-to-night basis. We can't affect what the paying public says to you, but we can affect how we respond to it, and that's just the truth of it all. I mean, these people
fans will get booted from the arena. They'll maybe get arrested if they get too far, but you as a player have to be the bigger man. As a public figure, that's the most important thing that I cannot stress enough. You're a public figure. You cannot talk back to fans. You cannot be hostile with fans, because you will hear the brunt of it. You will get the most criticized from it, not the fan.
Yeah, so they might have
the players lose every single time.
They might have to do something, like we talked about. They might need to have some sort of training, have some sort of something where they instruct the players, look, we can't be doing this, because, man, this has started becoming a nightly thing. Durant, Griffin, who else? I mean, we've seen multiple players get into it.
But it's the same players a lot, and that's what makes me uncomfortable, is a lot of these players that are talking back to fans are the stars of the NBA.
I think it would be a disaster if the NBA waits until we see another Malice in the
Unfortunately,
Palace.
I think that's what's going to happen.
I think that would be a disaster.
They need another Malice at the Palace to make sure someone gets reprimanded, but I don't want that to happen.
Such a bad look, huh?
It's going to happen, though. We're going to that, aren't we? It's almost bound to happen.
I hope and pray that it does not happen, but
yeah,
unfortunately, sometimes big things need to happen for change to happen. So
I hate that saying, but you're right. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
I mean, a lot of times you need something absolutely horrible to happen for a change, which sucks. It really does.
It's so bad. I get it's awful, but these players need to learn that you got to be the bigger man. These guys are just trying to get a rise at you. It's nothing personal, but they're making it personal, and that's why I feel like the NBA kind of gets a bad rep, because of guys like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook that are so sensitive to whatever the fans say, that they curse at them, they fight, they try to cause a fight, tell them to shut the F up. You can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't.
Yeah, absolutely not. Maybe the NBA should send every player, an
book?
audiobook. Audiobooks can inspire us, motivate us, and even bring us closer. And there's no better place to listen than with Audible. Get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Visit audible.com/GSMC book or text GSMC book to 500-500 to get started today. Again, for the fans of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, take advantage of this offer. Audible.com/GSMC book or text GSMC book to 500-500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by...
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We talked about the fans and players and their interactions that lead to negativity. Now we're going to round up what's happened in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we starting with?
I think we should start off with maybe some win streaks.
Okay, we can start with the longest win streak right now in the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, I did say that. The Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets?
The Brooklyn...
longest. No, we're talking about longest win streaks, not longest losing streaks.
But that's the thing. They have the longest winning streak with 7 wins in a row.
No. Come on, man. The Brooklyn Nets are trash.
Yeah, well, I thought so too, but they are 7 games winning streak is still going. They beat the Chicago Bulls 96-93.
Oh, boy.
There wasn't anything really special. Well, Dinwiddie did have 27 points, but that was like
right outside the playoffs, which is crazy.
Well, the thing is, they were pretty bad at the beginning. If this win streak happened, I don't know, 10 games ago, they would maybe like
they're 7-3 in their last 10. That means they were on a losing streak before.
They were 0-3 basically, losing 3 straight. Then they won 7 straight.
The Nets are pretty close to being a 500 basketball team, man.
It's not incredible. A 7-game winning streak, yet you're still not above 500.
They're coming, dude. They're coming for everybody in the East.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how the winning streak continues. They did play a pretty weak Bulls team right now to continue the winning streak, and that's also
definitely a weak Bulls team.
But they are playing tomorrow the Pacers, and that's gonna be a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I know they beat the Lakers, but I think the Pacers are the better team at the moment than the Lakers. So I'm gonna put this as the biggest. If they win this game, then I'll say this team might make the playoffs. This team might be actually a big deal.
They could do it. I mean, the East, anybody can make the playoffs. And if I'm being honest, I think Brooklyn might be better than Orlando. At least Orlando's actually...
Well, speaking of Orlando...
Orlando's one of the lowest scoring teams in the league.
You want to talk about...
They're pretty mediocre defensively.
Yeah. You want to talk about low scoring. They got destroyed by San Antonio 129-90 the same day as the Nets won. And
Spurs are streaking. They're going up. They've been struggling, but the last couple weeks we've seen them get a lot better.
129-90 is pretty darn lopsided.
7-3 in their last 10 for the Spurs.
That's like a Division 1 team facing a Division 3 team. But even like, you know what I mean? Just it seems like that kind of deficit that should not happen in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. What about the Rockets, man? Their 5-win streak. They hit an NBA record of 26 threes.
That's insane. So I'm assuming the Warriors had that record before.
Maybe the Rockets are back.
Maybe, but again, they're in the toughest conference, the Western Conference, so any loss is a huge downgrade.
They would be in the playoffs if it started today. They'd be your 7th seed in the West.
But like that's how challenging the Western Conference is when you do that well, if you play well and then you lose. Mm-hmm. Then that's a serious consequence.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Rockets, though, not only have they gotten their offensive game back, defensively, we've seen them improve, and that was a struggle for them at the beginning of the year. They are now in a positive point differential. They're now scoring more than they're giving up for the first time. They're
That's
7-3.
how you win games. You score more than the other team.
5-game win streak, 7-3 in their last 10.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And there was also a big game in the Warriors and Jazz that we need to discuss. Like we both said the Jazz were going to be a serious contender this year, and now they're still in the bottom of the West, but they did manage to beat the Warriors 108-103.
Yeah, I'm still not sold. Like the Rockets, I think, have turned the corner. I'm still suspect on the Jazz. 5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah.
I don't have a doubt that they can get up and win games against the Warriors. It's about the consistency with them.
And with the Warriors winning, or I'm sorry, the Jazz winning, the Warriors losing, you expect the guys with more than 30 points to be on the Jazz team since they won, correct?
Maybe so.
Well, two players on the Warriors had more than 30 points, Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry, 32 and 30 respectively, and they still lost. And then you look at the Jazz, the most points from one player was Ingles with 20. Like, I'm not sure how this happened, honestly.
Donovan Mitchell, I feel like they won in spite of Donovan Mitchell having a terrible shooting game. He really brought the team
5
down.
of 26, 2-11 from the 3. But
Imagine if he was just like had a slightly below average shooting game.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to say the least. But we actually have a special guest with us, don't we, Mark?
I mean, we could argue if it's special or not, but we do have a guest.
I don't know how special I am.
Well, I was just trying to. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Tate is with us.
How's it going, everyone?
So what
Doing
do
pretty
you like to talk about?
Okay.
You're the guest.
So since I kind of popped in and interrupted you guys.
Oh, not at all.
And the reason why I was interrupting you guys because you guys were talking about key matchups in big games. I have a question for you guys. I got a key matchup in a big game that I want to propose.
Okay.
Next week is Christmas.
Yes, Lakers
5
Warriors.
5 days from now.
And there's there's a few things that you guys have in common. But the
Very
one
few
thing,
things.
I don't know where you're getting at, but okay.
but the one thing you both have in common is the love of sports. Monday, you're off. That's Christmas Eve. Tuesday, you're off. That's Christmas Day. What happens the day after Christmas? Are you guys working?
We're supposed to be off, I believe.
I think we're supposed to be off, yeah.
Is this a trick question?
Okay. So my question is
Oh, God.
the key matchup. Mark versus Jeff.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to come in the day after Christmas. But for a trivia question, tomorrow, you versus Jeff, sports question, whoever answers the most gets the day after Christmas, that Thursday off, and that Friday
Oh, my
off.
gosh.
Oh my. Oh, wait.
Is this all basketball questions?
Or is
These are sports questions.
Are they statistics, historical? What kind of?
Yes, it is.
All of the above.
It can be any kind of sports question.
Okay. How many questions are we going to
I deem it. How about you guys make the decision on how many questions?
Let's go 10.
That's fine.
Are you interested?
I'm very interested.
Are you interested?
Sure.
I'll let you. And here's the thing. What I'm going to do is, since it's 10, I'm going to put together in a bag, let's say 25 to 30 sports questions that you guys will pull on air. Mark, let's say we'll flip a coin, say who first. Whoever wins first, you'll read the question. Your opponent has to answer. If it gets it wrong, then he gets it wrong.
for 1. Got it.
Whoever gets it, whoever first 1 to 10 wins.
Do we know the questions that are eligible?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely
And we-
not.
So fans,
I was just because since you had more than 10 questions, I was assuming like, oh, okay, maybe we go do a.
so listeners of this podcast should listen to our sports podcast.
I think that's what we're going to do on the sports podcast. This is interesting
because that will, yeah.
This is tomorrow, you say?
We're going to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
I'll present you guys with the questions. It's the matchup. The loser has to work the day after Christmas, that Thursday, and that Friday. The winner gets all 3 days off.
The whole
So you
week.
get the whole week off.
The whole week off.
Okay.
I hope my family didn't plan any special trip or something. I really hope.
What
so.
do you guys think? You
Oh,
said yes.
I
am in. I'm
you
in.
have to say
My
no.
I'm
You
in.
can-
My only hesitation is the day after Christmas. I don't know if that's going to work for me, regardless. But I don't have a problem with the rest of it.
All right, we can talk about that
We'll,
off
we'll,
air.
fig-
Yeah.
we'll
I just thought I'd pose that as a question
like
to you
it.
guys.
Honestly, it's a win-win. If you lose, like you get the. If you lose, you still get to talk on air and you get your own solo podcast.
yeah.
Yes, you get
I have
the-
no.
You did-
I have
yeah.
no problem with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. It's the
Okay.
the Wednesday. It's the Wednesday, but we'll figure that out. But I love the idea.
Okay.
Very interesting, to
See,
say the least.
This is why you should fear me coming into the studio. Because I come up with weird concepts.
I thought you were here to talk Lakers Warriors.
I
on
thought you were
Christmas.
going to.
thought that's where you were going
I
with
was like,
this.
oh, okay, Christmas matchup. Let's go. Then it turned out to be something on the line, something at stake here.
All right. So,
God.
you guys go ahead and continue.
God, if I lose, my parents would be so
and I will
disappointed
talk
in me.
to you guys tomorrow.
All right, have a
Sounds
good one.
good. Sounds good.
Oh, this is.
Let's get back
this
to the
is
games.
Okay. I don't know
What
if
about,
I don't know if I can.
I'll-
I don't know if I can.
I
if
got
I
it.
can trust you right now.
I got it. Let's go Raptors and the Pacers, man. Raptors 99-96. That was a big game yesterday. Two of the top teams in the East.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still. Hold on, I can't get over what just happened here.
It's all good.
I got to.
Kawhi Leonard, 28 points,
gotta
10
regroup.
boards, and 6 assists. Toronto is looking like a tough team, but Indiana, man, I think they're going to be a tough matchup. Indiana is going to be the team, in my opinion, that the top 2 or 3 in the East don't want to face in the second round. Like, they would much rather face another team, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you look at the East right now, Indiana's the 4 seed, Boston's the 5. I kind of think it might be where we go. Boston may jump them, but that's going to be your top 5 right there. But Indiana would be a tough out for like a Philadelphia or a Milwaukee, any of those teams, even Toronto. You would rather face a different team, I think, in the second round of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I know it's not that many, but there are a lot of still teams that are dangerous in the East.
It's still early in the season, though, but like you can kind of see when you look at the standings, it's already kind of shaken out, right? Like those are going to be your top 5, and then who knows what's going to happen 6 to 8. But I don't think any team after the top 5 will get into the current top 5. Like that's pretty much set in stone. After Boston, there's already a 2.5 game gap between them and the Pistons, and then you got the Hornets and the Magic behind the Pistons. So. Anyways, yeah. How about we talked about the Rockets. What about the Bucks over the Pelicans? That was another game between 2 notable teams.
Yes, absolutely. There was a lot of good matchups. I'm very impressed.
A lot of NBA last night.
Yeah.
A lot of games.
And it's Tuesday or Wednesday is like Wednesday night basketball. Like that's their kind of thing. And wait, what was the game you were saying one more time? Sorry.
Milwaukee and the Pelicans.
That's right.
Anthony Davis tried. He really did, but in the end of the day, Giannis,
Giannis has a better team around him.
Yeah.
That's just the case. It has to be
25-8-8 for Giannis. AD had 27-11-3, so obviously both of those guys led their teams.
Mm-hmm.
But again, yeah, like you said, it's just Bucks have a better team around their star, whereas the Pelicans, they have maybe Anthony Davis is better than Giannis, but man, he doesn't have the same supporting cast at all.
Yeah. It's just the Bucks are just a more developed team. That's the best I can come up with. Eric Bledsoe, I know he didn't play well 4-10, but he still is a very good player. Brook Lopez is a great player. George Hill, whole different, like he's still a great role player as well. Giannis has the right role players around him to win. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis,
Middleton's really good.
Middleton's
Middleton is a
playing
very
extremely
underrated
well.
NBA player.
He and
I think he'll get a max deal by the. He's a
You
free
think so?
agent. He's a free agent. Yeah, somebody will pay him the max if they don't. I can guarantee that.
But the thing is, when you look at Anthony Davis's side, Drew Holiday's playing excellent. Don't get me wrong, I like him a lot. But then you look at other players, and it's just not. Something's not there. There's not helpful. I know, they had 3 guys with 20 or more points. I get that, but that doesn't happen every single game.
Right.
And Anthony Davis, unfortunately, needs that every single game.
Anthony Davis really relies on Julius Randle to help out a lot in terms of the scoring and rebounding department.
He didn't play this game.
Exactly. So that was a big loss for them.
Yeah, if you add Randle, this game might be going to the Pelicans, but I think he needs to be able to rely on everyone, and Giannis can rely on everybody.
Memphis and Portland last night, that was another game between 2 solid teams.
Yes, and Portland with the win, 99-92, and Connolly had 23 points to his credit, but it went to the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard with 24 points of his own right really helped his team.
When you look at it, it's all about the bench because
there was a lot of guys off the bench.
Memphis starting 5 did all really well. They all were in double-digit scoring. But look at the bench. They scored 14 points off the bench.
Yeah.
The Blazers, let me do quick math real quick.
Well, 12 plus 6 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8.
Hold on. 30, 36, 44. 44 points to 14.
Well, if you look at the
that's
starting
a 30-point difference. That's too big of a
gap. You said
gap.
44 points?
44 to 14.
And besides Lillard, 14 plus 9, that's 23 plus 8 is 31. 31 points besides Lillard. So it's almost they did better than the others did, than the starting lineup did.
Yeah, absolutely. The bench for Portland outscored they didn't outscore the starters, but it was close. But regardless, they outscored Memphis bench by so much that it really helped out Damian Lillard and his 24 points, CJ McCollum as well. So that's a good game. That's a really good game, well-rounded game from them. Anyways, yeah.
Those are mainly the games that happened, but you know what happened?
Kings
Thunder. Kings Thunder, the fastest players on the planet, apparently.
Yeah, we saw Fox and Russell Westbrook just blow by each other a few times. They both played
great. De'Aaron Fox, man, he's all-star. He can be an all-star.
Possibly.
Yeah, 28 points, 12 assists. Buddy Hield, career high, 37 points.
But Paul George killed it.
Paul George, 43 points, 12 rebounds. Russell Westbrook, he had a triple-double in 19, 11, and 17. And then Adams, 23 rebounds.
The Thunder killed the Kings on the glass. Killed them.
That's where this game,
that's where the game was won.
Yeah, if this game was not such a blowout, if it wasn't for the rebounds.
Absolutely.
And that's the Kings' honestly, that's their Achilles heel, and they can't win games if they can't rebound.
Nope.
But anyways,
they can't push the pace if they can't rebound.
And maybe they should read about or listen to How to Rebound.
How to Rebound. Is there a book out there called How to Rebound?
Maybe an audiobook. But, maybe listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month they get 3 titles of their choice, 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook or by texting the code GSMCbook to 500500. Once again, to try it free for 30 days to get all these incredible deals, go to audible.com/GSMCbook or text the code GSMCbook to 500500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We just did our NBA roundup. Now we're talking about some news on the home front for the Lakers, as LeBron James said his comments that the would love to have Anthony Davis on the Lakers, and AD's comments about that was, "I don't really care," which I loved that response, to be honest with you.
I read it as, "Don't worry, LeBron, I'll be there in no time."
Yeah.
That's how I got those. How I took
Really?
those comments. Yeah.
Well, I understand he doesn't want to say that because I feel like that would piss off the Pelicans and all that good stuff. I get that. And I feel like that maybe he's, I don't know, is he playing it too hard? Is he trying too hard to say he doesn't care?
I don't know. I think that a reporter was fishing for a good quote from him, and he was waiting for it. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's more along those lines, right? Like, oh, let's ask Anthony Davis about joining LeBron at some point to get, like, some drama, get a good quote. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Davis was prepared. Sounds like he was waiting for it. Maybe he had been practicing this type of response with maybe his agent, who happens to be one of LeBron's people. So, interesting note.
Is that what's the word? A coincidence?
I don't believe so. Anthony Davis, and I am bullish on this. I know we've talked about it before, but I believe that he will be a Laker within the next 12 months. I don't know if that will be this season or next, but I fully envision him going to the Lakers in a trade this year or turning down the Supermax offer from the Pelicans next summer and then being traded to the Lakers. But either way, I think he will be a Laker at some point. I don't know if they'll trade him directly to the Lakers.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day.
So here's the thing. I think the Lakers will get scared if they hear that the Pelicans are going to trade him not to them, because they don't want to go this year and next year without Anthony Davis on the team. So I do think at some point they will pony up and they will pay whatever they need to pay for Anthony Davis, which I expect to be like a Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and 1 or 2 first-round picks. That's what I expect the price will be.
That is a hefty price, but it's probably worth it for that kind of guy, that kind of player.
The Lakers would be I don't think the Lakers would be dealing in a position of power, because do you really want Anthony Davis to not help you next season? I get this season might not be the Lakers' year for a championship run, but next year they have to get him, right? Like, they have to get him.
Yeah. It sounds like it's like a necessity.
And another team will
because
trade
again, they
for
only
him.
have
Another team will trade for him, so the Pelicans can pretty much deal him to some. I could see like Boston really being in on Anthony Davis. Imagine Anthony Davis on Boston.
Imagine him on any team, really. It would benefit them drastically. Like they were talking about him with Milwaukee. Can you imagine Giannis and Anthony Davis on the same team? That's borderline unfair.
That'd be interesting for sure. Yeah. I just see his future as a he'll play with LeBron for a couple of years, and then
the thing is, LeBron's contract will only be like 3 years after this year, so
and then
they
LeBron
don't have
will
much
leave.
time left.
LeBron will retire, and then it'll be Anthony.
Are we sure he's going to retire?
Well, I'm saying at some point in 3 or 4 years, probably.
Or he'll.
LeBron's been great, but he's not going to play forever.
Do you remember that YouTube video? I forget who did it. I think it was Bleacher Report, about like the Warriors and Cavaliers face each other the 40th consecutive year in a row, and they said LeBron James got robotic enhancements, and he cloned himself and all this stuff. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to get robotic enhancements and keep playing.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, but I don't believe that'll happen.
Yeah.
He is a freak of nature, that's for sure. But I see LeBron having the best chance of winning a title in the next 2 years. Next year for sure, because the Warriors will have some issues. The Warriors will not be the same next year, and that'll be an opportunity for another team to kind of jump them or at least level the playing field. And you could see the Lakers being that team if they were able to get Anthony Davis to pair with LeBron James. They have other decent players too.
Are you getting tired of these super teams forming?
I mean,
or are getting frustrated?
I just feel
with
like
how
the
many
NBA always has had super teams, but we just talk about it more nowadays. You know,
it's getting more out of hand. I feel like Like there's a lot more. Like remember when like I know Gary Payton and Karl Malone went to the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, and they're supposed to be an unbeatable team. But let's face it, Malone and Payton were at the end of their careers. A lot of guys are going to these teams in their prime and their best. That's where my problem is. Like the thing with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, they were all drafted. They all earned that. They all got on the same team by draft picks, not free agency and moving around.
Mm-hmm. So what are you saying? Like you don't like players moving?
I just don't like the fact that some player, like, I just am getting kind of frustrated with all these super teams, and I don't know.
What can you do?
I wish I could do something, but I just wish there was more opportunities for other teams.
The NBA incentivizes teams or players to stay with their teams.
I was talking to my dad about this, and he was saying, well, there's a difference between a super team in the NFL and NBA. NFL, there's 32 guys or 52 guys on the field or on one team. Mm-hmm. In the NBA, there's only 11. Or however,
and there's only 5 on the court, so every player makes a way bigger impact than one.
Exactly.
Like every player in the NBA is bigger impact than like a quarterback is.
Exactly my point, and that's why super teams are so common there and not in the NFL or the MLB because there's a lot less.
It's only 5 players.
Yeah,
5
compared
on 5.
to 9 or 11.
So if you got 2 or 3 awesome ones, you have a great chance, right?
Then you don't need the others that are there.
So I get what you're saying with the frustration, and I agree that it can be frustrating, but what do you do? Because right now, the way that the rules are, the players are incentivized to stay with the team
with the
that
Supermax
drafted them.
deal?
Yeah, that drafted them. The Supermax
But
contract.
I don't know, maybe...
But the thing is that the big cities will always be more attractive because the opportunity.
But I'm just. This is playing like devil's advocate, or maybe like a stupid, maybe like lower down the salary you can give players in free agency.
Say what?
Maybe increase the number, like before a Supermax, you can make the deal more for the team that's currently on the team, and if they move, they get a much less contract. Like so, make it more appealing to stay, even more appealing.
But
I
mean, that would be kind of like
I'm just
irrational,
trying,
right?
Yeah, but I'm obviously just trying to play.
Because there already is a salary cap, so I mean, a team can spend whatever they want, as long as they adhere to the rules.
I'm just trying to play I
see what you're saying. I just don't.
No, I don't see it either. I'm just trying to come up with ideas.
I mean, you could remove the salary cap. You could remove the salary cap and try it that way, but the big teams would most likely have more money to spend than the small teams.
I feel like that would make it worse.
Possibly, but then you allow a smaller team.
I mean, look at baseball.
I get it.
Of course, there is a luxury tax.
There'd always be a luxury tax.
But that I feel like that won't affect a lot of these high bid teams though, because of like
you could go to a no salary cap. You really could, but
maybe increase the luxury tax with that though.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't just I don't know.
Well, luxury tax is like a governmental thing, right? Like it's a.
I don't know. Maybe make it like a rule in the NBA or something like that. Just maybe increase it. You can. I'm sure they could.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Anyways, what do you say we go to a break, come back with power rankings?
Sure, we can do that. We'll be right back right after this.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome to the final segment of the GSMC podcast.
You almost did it. You almost said final countdown.
I'm sorry. The final countdown.
What do we talk about that? We already talked about that. We talked about how you're never supposed to say that again.
I never agreed to that. Anyways, let's do our top 5 teams in the NB. Wait for it.
I was going to do the G League power rankings.
I know like 3 teams: the Reno Bighorns, the Stockton King.
No, the Reno Bighorns are the Stockton Kings.
Are they now? Oh, the only reason I know that is because that's local.
Yeah. All right. Anyways,
okay, whatever.
You would think you'd know it if it was local.
Yeah, true. Top 5
Let's
teams.
go number 5. Go.
I got 76ers.
I got the Milwaukee Bucks led
Oh,
by
wow.
Giannis and
You have them pretty low.
Who do you got?
I have number 4, Milwaukee.
No.
I have number
Tell
5.
me why they're number 5.
Oh, Joel Embiid's on a roll path. I mean, Jimmy Butler's been playing pretty well, but everyone's just playing at a high level.
Seems kind of weird though.
It does, but they have.
Seems like
but 21 wins. But 21 wins speaks for itself.
Muy interesante.
Yes, it was. I was very debating on who was number 5. It was
5.
between. It was between them and the Pacers, but I had to go based on record on that one.
I got number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
From Wisconsin.
Where else would they be from?
I don't know.
What other city is named Milwaukee?
I'm sure there's another Milwaukee in
Milwaukee,
the United
Wyoming.
States.
I'm gonna look this up.
There usually is like a weird, like, you know how there's like a Hollywood in Florida?
Yes, that threw me off when I first heard that myself.
And like Frisco, Texas, even though it's not San Francisco, I think it's funny.
There's a Milwaukee, Oregon.
See, I told you,
but it's
man.
spelled differently.
But there's always like another one. Like there's like always another city.
Yeah.
Anyways.
My number 4 is...
not done.
Okay.
I got the Bucks at 5. Giannis, they're a solid team, though. Middleton is a really, really good player, underrated. Lopez is a very underrated signing in the offseason. I like Milwaukee. They could get higher on this list, but right now they're the 5th best team, in my opinion.
Okay. My number 4 is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Interesting.
And
tell me why.
Because Giannis and the role players around him are probably one of the best role players in the league, arguably. And this team just looks like a serious contender. This looks like a serious threat in the East. And I can't.
They're possibly a finals team. I agree with that.
Yes.
Do you think, though, are you worried? Because I'm worried about this. I'm worried that Giannis in the playoffs will get shut down because he can't shoot. I think in the playoffs, teams defend differently. The game tightens up. And I have a big concern about that for Milwaukee. Just that their best player might not be as effective when it matters the most, if that makes sense.
Well, he can only improve, so maybe he'll get better.
I mean, he
at shooting
could
as
improve, or he could just stay the same, right? Like
True.
He needs to improve, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he needs to improve, absolutely. But
my
I
number
think he
4
can.
team is Denver. I have the Nuggets at number 4 because
obviously one of us is
teams.
leaving one of the others ones out. Feels like
I got Denver at number 4. They're one of the most balanced teams. They can defend. I like their home court advantage playing in Denver. I think it's always tough because of the altitude change. Not only that, but they're a solid team 1 through 5 and on the bench. And I just absolutely love the fact that they run their offense through their center. It makes them a different team than any other team on any given night. That is a tough matchup for another team to go up against. So.
Okay. Well, my number 3 is Denver. And a lot of what you just said is true, and I agree with it. But I think they're just overall a more complete team defensively and offensively than most think they are. Mm-hmm. So that's why I put them at my number 3.
All right, my number 3 is a team that I know for sure you don't have in your top 5.
Who?
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Really? You put Oklahoma? They are out of my top 5.
They had a tough start, but man, they've been playing.
They're
well.
obviously in my top 10, no question about it. But I didn't think they were top 5.
Paul George and Russell Westbrook have been playing at probably the best 1-2 combo in the NBA in the last couple weeks. They both are showing up every night. Steven Adams is a tough player to defend against. I just like their overall team. And I feel like they're getting better. Like, they're already a good team. They had a tough start. But not only with their wins and losses, I just think that as a team, they're moving the ball more effectively. They can rebound the ball. And, of course, when you have a point guard like Westbrook who can, dish out 15 dimes a night, that's really tough to beat. So I have them at number 3.
And I can see them totally in the top 5, but they're just not in mine, I guess.
Who's your number?
My number 2?
Yeah.
The Warriors. I think that's obvious.
Wow. The Warriors at 2, huh?
They are very, very good. But my number 1 team, I just think, is on a path that is far better.
The Raptors.
No.
Who?
The Bulls. No, I'm kidding. It's the Raptors.
Yeah, I have Raptors at 2 and Warriors 1.
Really? You have Raptors at 2?
Yeah, I don't think that they'd beat the Warriors in a 7-game series as of yet. As of yet, they could change.
I can see them going to a full game 7. I can see them winning.
Not today. Not today. But can they get there? Yeah, they could. A fully healthy Warriors team? I don't know. I'd have to see it first, right?
Yeah, but I just think the Raptors right now are better than the Warriors. My personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. It's possible. We will probably not see that until it actually happens.
Until the finals, and if they make it.
But I can't in good faith put a team better than the Warriors right now, even if they aren't blowing everybody away every night. Like, I know what to expect from them, and I know that they have Curry, Clay, Durant, Draymond, and guess who else is coming? DeMarcus Cousins here in about a month or so. So we'll see what happens, man. You didn't like OKC in your top 5, though, huh?
No, they're playing well. They're I could put them as a minor 6, absolutely. But I just think these other 5 teams.
You think Sixers are better than OKC?
It's debatable.
Yeah, I don't. I couldn't say that, but I understand.
Embiid is like another beast in nature.
Embiid though would have a tough time with Steven Adams though. Like, I'm not saying he couldn't score on him, but Steven Adams is a physical presence.
True.
I think Steven Adams should have played Aquaman, if we're being honest, but
he does look like him, doesn't he?
Yeah, what is he, like, from New Zealand? I think he is, Steven Adams. He's a good player, man. He's strong defensively.
Yeah.
Really good rebounder.
No, all these teams are great, no question about it. And that's why it's controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But is that it? That's all the time we have?
I think that's it.
That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune us in next Thursday. We will not be here next Tuesday since it's Christmas. And we will see you on Thursday. Happy holidays, everybody.
One of us will see you on Thursday.
Yes, because we will have the outcome of our little trivia game tomorrow during our sports podcast. So you better check that one out. So see you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.